welcome to Dru Manchu's Comic Book Reviews. I'm your host, Dru Manchu, and today we're going to be taking a deep look inside Marvel Comics 1000. Written and drawn by Adam F. Goldberg, Adam Kubert, Adam Riches, Al Ewing, Alan Davis, Alex Ross, Alan Heinberg, Benjamin Jackendorf, Brad Meltzer, Brian Stelfreeze, Butch Geis, Cafu, Cameron Stewart, Carlos Pacheco, Charles Soule, Chip Zdarsky, Chris Claremont, Christopher Miller, Chris Mooneyham, Chris Samney, Chris Weston, Christian Ward, Corey Smith, Dan Slott, Daniel Acuna, David Baldione, David Lopez, David Mandel, David F. Walker, Derek Landy, Desmond Letham, Donald Mustard, Donnie Cates, Doug Braithwaite.
Meanwhile,
Marvel Comics 1000 is the celebration of 80 years of story with 80 creators on 80 separate pages. There's actually like 96 pages in here. Each one of these pages is a separate story, a separate vignette that references a point in history of the Marvel Universe, and is really cool stuff. Each page is pretty much self-contained. There are some common threads throughout that are sprinkled into different creators' visions, and there is an overarching story through Al Ewing's pages. But basically what we're getting is one-page one-shots, or more likely in the more successful scenarios, you're getting character vignettes. It's an absolute nostalgia trip that also peppers in a whole lot of modern Marvel stuff along the way that mirrors the early Marvel characters in a way that I find really interesting. For instance, the introduction of Miss America in 1943 in Marvel Mystery Comics number 49. That's mirrored here by an interview with America Chavez. And when Patsy Walker gets her own book in 1945, that's celebrated by Stuart and Catherine Immonen showing her taking selfies, her tips for selfies, which is really fun and wonderful, but a modern take on a look for a reference from 1945. Dustin Weaver, Ed Brisson, Ed McGuinness, Eduardo Rizzo, Eric Larson, Eve L. Ewing, Everett Lethem, Gabrielle Hardman, Gail Simone, Jeff Shaw, George Perez, who? Jerry Conway, Jerry Duggan, Glenn David Gold, Goran Parlov, Greg Land, Greg Pak, Irene Coe, J. Michael Straczynski, J. Scott Campbell, James Herron, James M. Englehart, Jason Aaron, Jason Latour, Jason Reynolds, Javier Rodriguez, Jeff Lemire, Jeffrey Verrage, Jen Bartel, Jeff Loeb, Jeremy Whitley, Jesus Saez, Jim Chung, Jim Zub, Jimmy Taboo Gomez, J.J. Kirby.
meanwhile,
This book is absolutely loaded with content, and every page gives you something new and something different. They run the gamut from poetic and poignant to sophomoric and hilarious. These are just a bunch of different artists and a bunch of different writers coming together to pay homage to the great history that is Marvel Comics. We get naked Dr. Strange wrestling with his laundry, and we also get a beautiful deconstruction of Tony Stark. Absolutely no words by Chip Zdarsky, and it's just absolutely stunning. There's even a Miracle Man page, but in that trade-off, you also get Rob Liefeld. The one issue with having so many cooks in the kitchen is that it's a little bit inconsistent across the board. There are the Al Ewing pages, which tie together the story of the Eternity Mask. There are the pages from the creators who decided to, I guess, maybe follow the assignment, which was, what does superheroing mean to you? Why do you do it? There are a couple of situations where it feels like these characters are being interviewed. Alex Ross handles his story with the Hulk very comedically, as the Hulk just eats the microphone of the reporter. Kind of cool stuff. Really great art in that. Just kind of basic stuff for Alex Ross, though. Some of these creators decide they're going to try to jam as much as possible onto these pages, and those are the pages that feel like they don't work quite as well as some of the more understated vignettes, some of the simpler things, some of the things that you can use one page to really get over. Nice collage arts with a little bit of text were really, really cool. Nice little homages to issues past. And I really enjoyed that stuff, but there was some stuff in here that just didn't work for me as well. But the great thing about it is there's so much content that you can flip through it and see something new pretty much every time. It's great to see some creators back working for Marvel in one capacity or another, maybe just for a one-page celebration anniversary issue. It's a cool thing to see these artists and writers just really flex their muscles on a small project and pay homage to this history.
A little longer than a few minutes later.
J.J. Kirby, Joe Bennett, Joe Hill, Joe Quesada, John Cassaday, Jonathan Hickman, Jorge Fornes, Joshua Cassara, Juan Cabal, Julian Totino Tedesco, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Catherine Immonen, Kelly Sue DeConnick, Kelly Thompson, Kia Azima, Kieran Gillen, Klaus Jansen, Chris Anka, Kurt Busick, Linnell Francis Hugh, Leonard Kirk, Leonardo Romero, Marco Cicchetto, Marcos Martin, Mark Bright, Mark Buckingham, Mark Wade, Matthew Rosenberg, Mattia de Luis. I'm sorry, I'm butchering your name. Mike Deodato Jr. This is an anniversary issue and a number 1000, so you're also going to get a million different variants to choose from. Last I saw online, there's like 37 different variants when you count store exclusives and online artist store exclusives. You can really have your pick of the litter when it comes to this thing. There's a really beautiful She-Hulk cover from Tedesco. I really enjoyed the Thanos-centric Infinity Gauntlet style Ron Lim cover. And if you're lucky like me, you can get your hands on that D23 exclusive Mickey Mouse cover, which was absolutely delicious. Had to empty the wallet and pick one of those up myself, so very excited to have that. This is also a detractor. I know a lot of people out there aren't a huge fan of the variant craze to sell books, but man, check out some of these covers and tell yourself you don't want one. Also, where'd this number 1000 come from? Is it 1000 issues? There've been way more than 1000 issues, but not of one series. 80 years? I get it, guys. 12 publishing months in a year, 80 years, comes out to, wait, I guess the math doesn't work.
Lot of boring math later.
So basically here, I think Marvel has taken the opportunity to see what Action Comics 1000 and Detective Comics 1000, which have gotten legitimate 1000 issue runs, and they decided to maybe throw their hat in the ring and say, hey, we've got enough history to put out one of these books. We're just going to slap 1000 on it and see what happens. And in my opinion, what happened was I got a better book than I got from Action or Detective 1000. I also got prettier covers, better variants. And, you know, it feels like this was worth the $10 to me. I feel like I've gone back to this book more times this week than I have pretty much any book that I bought in the past year or so, at least. I've gone back to this book and read it over and over again, little pieces of it here and there. It's actually a perfect coffee table book. And to be honest, Marvel gave us this beautiful square bound, and oh man, I was so happy when I saw these. When Marvel does these oversized issues, normally they're just the fold over regular spines, and they're all split at the top and bottom corners. And you know, I just, as a condition guy, that's something that really, really gets me. So I'm really happy that this is a square bound book. Square bound book, $10, 80 years worth of stories. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with this book, guys. There are a few detractions here and there, but for me, it's a 3.5 out of 5. I really dug it, and I think that I might buy a couple of these when they drop in price. Maybe if I can find them in the dollar bin beat up, and stick them on my coffee table, because it's a perfect coffee table book.
2,000 years later.
Deodato Jr., Neil Gaiman, Nick Bradshaw, Oscar Martin, Paco Medina, Patch Zurcher, Patrick Gleason, Patrick O'Keefe, Paul Azaceta, Paul Hornsmeyer, Pepe Larraz, Peter David, Phil Lord, Phil Noto, Priest, Rainbow Roel, Ralph Macchio, Raymond Obstfeld, Rob Liefeld, Rod Reese, Ron Friends, Ron Garney, Roy Thomas, Ryan North, Saladin Ahmed, Salvador LaRocca, Steve Epting, Steve McNiven, Steve Rude, Stuart Eminem, Takaishi Miyazawa, Terry Dodson, Tim Sale, Teeny Howard, Toby Whitehouse, Tom DeFalco, Tom Taylor, Walt Simonson. Holy hell, that's a lot of people. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, give us a subscribe, and hit that notification bell. That way you know anytime the Comic Core is going live. Alternatively, if you'd like to support us monetarily, you can buy some of our Comic Core t-shirts. They're available on our TeePublic store. Click the link in the description below, or just go to the TeePublic website, type in Comic Core, and then shop till you drop. Do you have a hot date coming up? Maybe a job interview? We're putting up new designs all the time. You can check out this Dru Manchu Bebe t-shirt. Impress your friends, your neighbors, and potential employers with your style. They're available in a plethora of different colors. Check the link in the description below.